My fiancé wants me to use my teenage son's Social Security survivor benefits to pay half our rent, and now I'm questioning everything about our future together. For context, I'm a 38-year-old woman. I have one son, 15, almost 16, from my late husband, who passed away when our son was just 5. It was sudden and devastating. My husband and I had been together since college, and losing him so early shattered me. My son receives $1,100 per month in Social Security survivor benefits, money intended to support him since his father isn't here to do so. From the very beginning, I made a decision. Half of the check, $550, goes directly to my son for his personal use, and the other half I save for him in a separate account. He knows this money is his, and I've tried to teach him to manage it responsibly. Sometimes he uses it for clothes, gaming, outings with friends, or saving up for bigger things. The savings account is for his future, college, trade school, or just a nest egg when he starts his adult life. About 5 years after my husband passed, I started dating again. It's been rocky. I've been with my current boyfriend, now fiancé, 40M, for years in an on-again, off-again cycle. He has 3 children of his own, but only one, 12F, will be living with us full-time. His older 2 are with his ex-wife. Things between us have been better lately. He proposed, and we started talking seriously about combining households, finances, and planning for the future. This is where the conflict starts. We've been looking at houses together. The one we both liked is $2,500 per month in rent. It's a big house with enough bedrooms for my son, his daughter, and space for when his older kids visit. It's also close to my son's school and activities, which was important to me. My fiancé sat down and proposed a budget. According to him, the fair way to split is, he pays $950. I pay $950. And then we take $600 from my son's survivor benefits to cover the rest. That leaves $500 from my son's check, which he suggested we put into savings. He said this way, everyone contributes and the household is sustainable. At first, I thought he was joking. Why would my son's money, which is legally and morally his, be used to cover adult bills? But he was completely serious. His reasoning is that since we're becoming a family, all resources should be pooled. He argued that my son benefits from living in the home, so his money should go toward it. He even said it's no different than child support. Kids' money goes into the household all the time. For years, I've handled my son's benefits the same way. $550 directly to him, $550 in a savings. He has learned how to budget his spending. Sometimes he splurges, sometimes he saves. He's not reckless. I've always been upfront with him that this money comes because his dad passed away and it's meant for his care. I've also told him I'm saving part of it for when he's older, so he has some security starting out. This approach has worked. My son feels trusted and respected, and he appreciates having some independence. He knows not every kid has this kind of resource, and he doesn't flaunt it. He's even said he's glad I didn't just take all for bills because it gives him choices. When my fiancé presented his plan, I told him I didn't feel comfortable with it. I said, that money is for my son, not for us to cover rent. He didn't ask to subsidize our household. We're the adults. We should be paying for the house. He pushed back hard. He said, we're building a family. Family share. You're treating me like I'm trying to steal from him, but really I'm just trying to make things work. Do you think it's fair that I'm covering 3 kids when only one of them is with us full time? At least your son has resources. That last line made my stomach drop. It sounded like he resented my son for having survivor benefits. I tried to explain that these benefits are not a luxury, not some extra income. They're a replacement for his father's lost income. His father, who isn't here anymore. Using them to make life easier for us feels wrong to me. But my fiancé wouldn't let it go. He said, you're being selfish. You're prioritizing money over building a life together. If we're gonna make this work, everything should be pooled. Otherwise, it's like you don't trust me. I told him plainly, it's not about trust. It's about my son. That money is his. Period. I won't agree to using it to lower our share of the rent. Since that conversation, I felt uneasy. Part of me is furious. Why should my fiancé expect a teenager to contribute to the mortgage? Another part of me feels guilty. Am I being too rigid? Should I be more open to the idea of pooling resources? I don't want to sabotage a good relationship, but this feels like a massive red flag. I keep thinking about my late husband. If he were here, would he want his son's benefits used like this? I honestly believe he would want me to protect them for our son, not let them be siphoned into adult expenses. Another layer, my fiancé called me selfish. That's dumb. I've spent years putting everyone else first, working, saving, being both mom and dad to my son. To be told I'm selfish for wanting to safeguard the one financial legacy my son has from his dad, it feels cruel. I also worry about what this says about the future. If we combine finances, will my fiancé always see my son's money as house money? Will every decision become a fight about whether my son's benefits should be included? What happens when college comes around? Or emergencies? I haven't told my son about this disagreement. He's still a kid, and I don't want to burden him with adult conflict. But I can imagine how he'd feel if I suddenly cut his spending money in half to put it toward rent. He'd feel like his dad's support was being stolen to cover bills. And honestly, he'd be right. He's at an age where independence matters. He's almost 17. Taking away his control of his money now would feel like betrayal. He trusts me to manage it fairly. If I change that because of my fiancé, I worry I'll lose that trust. To be fair, I can see where he's coming from. He's not wealthy. Supporting kids is expensive. He may feel like I'm hoarding money while he stretches to cover expenses. In his eyes, maybe it seems unfair that I have access to an extra $1,100 a month and I won't put it toward the household. But here's the thing, it's not my money. It's my son's. That's the part he refuses to understand. I've talked to 2 friends about this. One said, "Run, this is a huge red flag. If he's already eyeing your son's benefits, he'll see them as community property forever. Protect your kid first." The other said, "Maybe he's just stressed about money. If everything else is good, don't throw away the relationship over this." Couples need to compromise. I feel torn between those 2 views. Since the fight, I haven't even been able to look at the ring the same way. I keep thinking, don't want to marry someone who thinks like this. Engagement should be exciting and full of hope. Instead, I feel dread and doubt. Am I wrong to keep my son's check separate? Is it selfish of me to refuse to put it toward household bills? Or is my fiancé showing me a red flag about how he views my son and his future? I love this man, but my gut says protecting my son comes first. I don't want to blow up a relationship over money, but I also don't want to sell out my son's inheritance just to keep the peace. What do you think? AITA for not wanting to use my son's survivor benefits to pay household bills? Or is my fiancé being unreasonable by expecting it? Update. Hi everyone. I didn't expect my post to get so much attention, but I want to thank you all for your comments and perspectives. Reading through the replies really helped me get clarity. A lot of you pointed out things I hadn't considered or things I think I knew deep down, but was afraid to admit. I read hundreds of comments telling me the same thing. That money is your son's. Protect it. Your fiancé's attitude is a red flag. The overwhelming consensus was that survivor benefits are not household income. They're my son's inheritance and support. A few people also share their own experiences of parents or step-parents taking their survivor benefits and how betrayed they felt. Those stories really hit me hard because they sounded exactly like the nightmare I was afraid of creating for my son. After sitting with the comments, I decided to talk to my son. I didn't want to drag him into adult conflict, but I also felt he deserved to know what was happening since this directly affects him. I explained that my fiancé had suggested we use part of his survivor benefits to pay for rent. His reaction was immediate. "Wait, what? That's my money. That's from Dad. Why would he get to use that?" I reassured him that I had not agreed to it and never would. He told me he felt relieved, but also weirded out that my fiancé even suggested it. My son is a teenager, but he's not naive. He asked me straight out, "Mom, are you sure this guy has my back?" That question cut me to my core. I also sat down with my fiancé again. I told him clearly that after thinking it through, I will not, under any circumstances, use my son's survivor benefits for rent or share expenses. I explained that the money belongs to my son, and using it would be both morally wrong and a betrayal of trust. He did not take it well. He doubled down on his argument that families share everything. He accused me again of being selfish, and even suggested that I was choosing my son over our future together. That line was the final straw for me. Of course I am choosing my son. He's my child, my late husband's only child. He comes first always. After that conversation, I called off the engagement. I couldn't ignore what my gut was screaming. If he already resents my son's benefits now, it would only get worse once we were married and legally entangled. I realized that marrying him would mean years of fights about money, resentment toward my son, and me constantly having to defend decisions that should be obvious to any decent partner. Ending things was painful. I've spent years in this relationship, but as soon as I did, I felt lighter. My son noticed too. He hugged me and said, "Thanks for having my back, Mom." That moment confirmed I made the right choice. My fiancé, well, ex-fiancé now, has been angry. He's accused me of throwing everything away over a couple $100. But it was never about the money. It was about priorities, respect, and protecting my child. I know now that I wasn't being selfish at all. I was being a parent. So thank you for helping me see that clearly. My son's money will stay his, just as it always has. And as for me, I'm moving forward, focusing on my son and our future without someone who sees him as a line item in a budget.